for the first one ever, I had to get my mentor in the kitchen, my mother, Karen, to help show one of my favorite recipes. So Mom, I'll let you tell and explain kind of the recipe we're gonna do.
So we're gonna make breakfast cookies, which is a recipe that I originally got from my niece, Courtney, but over time have modified to make it my own. So the first thing you have to do is you have to preheat your oven to 325 if you have a convection oven, which I do, so I've done that. Or if you have a regular oven, you want your oven at 350 Fahrenheit. So then you need to, I have a big, huge mixing bowl, and I've melted 3/4 cup of salted butter. And to that, I'm going to add a little bit shy of half a cup of dark brown sugar. Then to that, we also want to add, Kate, could you grab the spatula? So it's about 1/3 of a cup of natural honey. Again, compliments of my niece, Allison, and her husband, Jeremy. So we're going to take that honey, and add it to that butter and dark brown sugar.
These cookies are so awesome because they do have a little bit of sugar, a little bit of chocolate, but they have so many different grains, and they're super filling. So I love taking mine to work in the morning, having it with my coffee. They keep you full right till lunch. So these are an awesome thing to make, and you can freeze them.
Yeah, easy to take, an easy take along thing.
So we have the butter, we have the sugar, we have the honey. We're kind of just mixing that together right now.
So we're going to save the spatula in this dish. And then we're going to add 2 eggs that you have to beat in. And these are my farm fresh eggs from my 4 surviving chickens.
So hip.
And then you beat this in. Again, the nice thing about this is it's really, it's hard to fail. Kate and I were talking, it does require a lot of ingredients, so maybe it's a little intimidating, but it's stuff that I think you can use.
You should have stocked in your pantry.
And you can use it over and over and over again for other recipes. So
I use a lot of the different nuts and seeds I'll make into power balls as well. So you can go power balls, you can use some of the seeds in bread, a lot of different options.
Absolutely, yeah. So then you just leave that now, and now we're going to do, which is, I think this is what makes this cookie so special, is I have a Vitamix, but you don't actually need one if you don't have one. A grater, just an ordinary hand grater works too, but it takes a little bit longer for sure. So in your Vitamix right now, because that's what I'm using, I'm going to take, excuse me, about a cup of large flake oats, and I'm just going to use my hands because it's not science. You don't have to be really careful. But I always want to put about half of my oats in. Like this is 2 cups of large flake oats.
Half the cup of oats.
Yeah, I'm only going to blend half. The other half I'm going to put in whole because I want that texture in my cookie. Now you want to take about a cup of, these are pitted dates. So about a cup of pitted dates, but only put about half in right now, and you'll see why in a second. And then I have 70% dark chocolate, and I buy a Belgian chocolate that's just a kind of a higher quality chocolate. And what I found over time is, I was telling Katie this funny story, is this started because I found a whole bunch of chocolate bars that she left at the lake. And I hate to waste, so I was trying to use them.
I was going to eat them next time I went there.
Not anymore. So I
Save
thought,
them.
I'll grate some chocolate and put it in the cookies because I thought that will keep them, the kids like them when they're nice and, when I say kids, I mean my adult children, like them when they're nice and moist.
Yes.
So I'm going to add about half of those squares of chocolate. And then I'm going to, this is going to be noisy. So that, it's going to...
mealy kind of.
Yeah, mealy, it's going to, you want it, if you don't put the oats in, what I find is that the dates, they get gummy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make for an attractive...
It powders the dates.
Yeah. So what we want to do is make sure we always have something in there that's going to keep the dates from getting too gummy.
Yeah.
So also I'm going to grate a little bit, I'm going to Vitamix a little bit more in of the cranberries. So they're just unsweetened, or maybe they're sweetened, I have no idea. Cranberries anyhow, about half a cup of cranberries. And then I'm going to add some more dates. Yeah, we'll just add all the dates. And then I'm going to, not everybody likes nuts, and so you don't have to include them, but I like walnuts. They're good for you. They're a good source of...
Fat?
Yes.
They have good fat.
They have a good fat.
They have a good fat.
Let's say that. So we're adding the walnuts, but I'm going to add about half of them right now.
And the reason she's doing it in increments is just to allow the blender to do its work, right?
Right.
If you put everything in at once, it's going to get clumped up, or it's not going to fully pulverize it.
Right. Kate will bring the bowl. And we're just gonna dump all of that in.
So again, if you don't have a blender or a food processor, you can shred, is it the dates?
Yeah, you can shred the dates.
You can shred the dates with just a average cheese grater. So if you don't have big, fancy, expensive equipment, it's not a huge deal. It will require a little more muscle, a little more time.
Yeah.
We don't need this anymore?
Well, okay, so because we're doing this on the fly, I forgot to grate the rest of the chocolate.
So we're gonna add that in.
Or we don't have to. Like the chocolate is my add, so I think we just won't bother today. So I only used about half the amount of chocolate, but again, I don't think it's a huge deal. So we're going to mix that up, Kate.
Okay.
I will get rid of the Vitamix.
So this is kind of a really nice texture. It's mixing with that sugar and butter and honey, and it's creating kind of a really moist, not runny batter, but
A nice base for your cookie though.
yeah.
So to that, we're going to add the rest of the large flake oats. We're going to add, okay, so pumpkin seeds, about a half cup of pumpkin seeds. Same with the sunflower seeds, about a half a cup. A quarter cup of chia seeds, or whatever. Again, you can put as much or as little in as you want. It doesn't really matter, and it doesn't affect the texture or the taste of the cookie. This, I think you do want to add the half cup though of brown flax. It's good for you, and you can't taste it in the cookie. Again, these are cookies that you can, if you have children, you can make them for your kids.
And you can omit the chocolate, you can omit certain nuts, or if there's allergies, they're really easy to adjust based on your personal preference.
Yeah. And again, I just kind of changed these over the
your experimentation.
year. Yeah, experimenting. Okay, so then a cup of shredded unsweetened coconut. You don't need to add any extra sugar to this. I think the dates do
And the brown sugar
and the honey all make it a nice sweet cookie. My girlfriend always says, you can make cookies unsweet, but what's the point? Then you may as well not call them a cookie, call them a biscuit. So.
Yeah.
So then we're going to add the rest of those whole walnuts. Again, it just gives a nice texture to the cookie. And again, you don't have to. If you have a nut allergy, you don't have to use them. And then a cup of whole wheat flour. The original recipe called for 2 cups of flour, but I found the cookies way too dense. I just didn't like the texture at all. So over time, I've cut that flour back, which I think, again, is
a good thing for most
It's not a bad thing, yeah.
And it makes them a lot more moist and kind of dense. You know, when you take a cookie out of the oven a little bit early and you have it a little more chewy, this texture reminds me a little more of that rather than like a really thick, dense cookie.
Yeah, for sure. Now, 2 cups of baking soda. 2 teaspoons. Yeah, 2 cups
Those would be some big
lot.
cookies.
And 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So you want to mix that in really, really well. Otherwise, those leavening agents will leave a salty taste in your mouth when you're eating them. So you want to make sure they're mixed really, really good. Clean the edge. And then we're going to mix in our last thing, which again, you do not have to put in if you don't want to.
But you should if you like chocolate.
And so this is a mixture of dark and
Milk
chocolate. Just whatever I have on hand. The other thing you could do is if, again, like me, you're trying to use up stuff, you could just chop up a chocolate bar and add that at the end if you want.
Yeah.
Like a dark
Pretty
chocolate
versatile.
bar. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Kate, mix that up.
I'll muscle this. So you'll need a basic cookie sheet.
Which is what I've got here with a piece of parchment paper because I hate to grease anything. The lazy man's way. Now they are big cookies, so you don't want to put a lot on your pan. Like I only ever put 6 on. Over time, because of the way I know things bake up, I take 2 fingers and I just press down on the cookies just a tad, just to give them a little bit of help in the process. And that's what you're going to end up getting, or they look like that when they're raw. You know, I'm not a good timer, but you probably want to start about 8 minutes. And then if you're in convection, you could probably cook a little bit less. And if you're using a regular oven, you probably have to cook them a little bit more. So you don't want them, if you like your cookies hard, of course, or not soft, you have to cook them longer. So let's start at 8 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna keep doing this.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good options in here. Like I said, you have to invest in those ingredients. But I know something like pumpkin seeds, cranberries, dates, oats, chia seed, flax seed. I use all of that in power balls. Again, in a big Vitamix or a food processor. I know in my mom's bread, she likes to add all sorts of different seeds and whole wheat flour. So if you're buying these ingredients, you're really just opening the door to be able to kind of bake on a whim and kind of get creative and interchange different things. And like my mom said, she has experimented off of one recipe and kept changing it until she's gotten to what I think is the best version of these cookies. The last batch we had were amazing. So don't be afraid to try different things, switch out ingredients, and find what works for you or your dietary restrictions.
Yeah, easy.
Easy.
Yeah, I think so.
You just have a lot of ingredients. That's the one.
That is the one thing that it's a little intimidating. If you're not used to baking, you might think, holy, that's a lot of stuff. But you can use it in so many different things that I think it's just, you stock your pantry and then...
Stock it once, and again, those things take a while to run out, so...
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. Nice and moist. Oh, those are very hot.
What do you think?
Very good. I've never had a hot one, so pretty amazing. So good.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining for this first vlog on how to make Mother Karen's breakfast cookies. You can see they turned out beautifully here. Super moist, super delicious. And just a note, these do make about 18 to 20 cookies with a big scoop. If you want more of a snack size version, you can use a smaller scoop. It'll be about just a little bit better if you're looking for a grab and go quick snack, not necessarily a whole breakfast item. So yeah, a lot of versatility with these. Give them a try. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Have a great day. Signing off.